In the thick of World War II, a group of extraordinary women stepped forward to serve their country. They were the Women's Auxiliary Air Force, or WAAF. These women, often overlooked in the annals of history, played pivotal roles in the war effort. They served as radar operators, code breakers, and mechanics, among many other roles. Their contributions were invaluable, and their courage unquestionable. One such valiant woman was Margaret Horton. Serving as a flight mechanic for the WAAF, Margaret was stationed at RAF Hibblestone. She was responsible for maintaining the formidable Spitfires, the iconic fighter aircraft that were integral to the Allied victory. Little did she know that her routine mechanical work would soon take an extraordinary turn. Among these women was one Margaret Horton, a WAAF flight mechanic, whose bravery would soon be tested in an unimaginable way. To understand Margaret's story, we must first understand the significance of the Spitfire aircraft in World War II. The Spitfire was much more than a machine. It was a symbol of hope, a beacon of resilience in the face of adversity. It was the frontline fighter, the guardian of the skies, defending Britain against the onslaught of the German Luftwaffe. The Spitfire was loved by the pilots who flew them and the mechanics who serviced them. Their streamlined shapes, the power of their Merlin engines, and their formidable firepower made them a force to be reckoned with. These aircraft were not just flying machines. They were the embodiment of British spirit, courage, and determination. They were not merely fighters, they were saviors, their presence in the sky a reassurance that freedom would prevail. Spitfires were a common sight at RAF Hibblestone, a bustling airfield tucked away in the quiet Lincolnshire countryside. Nestled amidst rolling fields and quaint villages, this airfield was a hive of activity during the war. Men and women, just like Margaret, worked tirelessly here, servicing and repairing these magnificent machines, readying them for their next mission. RAF Hibblestone was not just a workplace. It was a community where friendships were forged amidst the chaos of war, where courage was commonplace, and where extraordinary events unfolded. It was here that Margaret, a flight mechanic, worked daily on the Spitfires, ensuring they were in top shape for the brave pilots who flew them. It was here at RAF Hibblestone, amidst the roar of Spitfires, that Margaret's ordinary day would take a dramatic turn. The date was February 9, 1945. Margaret was called for a rough weather procedure. Little did she know her life was about to change. This was a day like any other at RAF Hibblestone. The air was thick with anticipation as the war raged on. Margaret Horton, a WAAF flight mechanic, was going about her duties, unaware of the extraordinary turn her day would take. On this fateful day, Margaret was called upon to perform a rough weather procedure, a routine task that involved holding the tail of a Spitfire to prevent it from tipping back. Spitfires, being tail-heavy, were prone to tipping when the engines were started. The procedure was simple enough, but what followed was anything but routine. High above the ground, clinging to the tail of a Spitfire, Margaret faced a terrifying ordeal. The wind whipped through her hair, her heart pounded in her chest, and the world below seemed a distant, unreal tableau. She was a passenger on an unexpected flight, an unwitting adventurer in the sky. Imagine the adrenaline coursing through her veins, the cold air biting at her face, the roar of the Spitfire's engine in her ears. Fear must have gripped her, but Margaret was not one to surrender to panic. She found an inexplicable calm within herself, a steadiness that defied the absurdity of her situation. This was not her end, she knew. She would survive. Meanwhile, inside the cockpit, the pilot flew on, oblivious to the unusual cargo he was carrying. As the Spitfire soared through the sky, he noticed a shift in the aircraft's balance. Something was off. The plane felt heavier, its movements sluggish. His experienced intuition told him something was amiss. He couldn't see her, couldn't hear her, but he sensed her presence. With a great deal of skill and a little bit of luck, the pilot made the decision to descend. His hands steady on the controls, he guided the Spitfire back towards the earth. The descent must have felt like an eternity for Margaret, the ground rushing up to meet them, her heart in her throat. And then, with a jolt and a rush of relief, they were back on solid ground. The Spitfire skidded to a halt on the runway of RAF Hibblestone, its engines sputtering to silence. Against all odds, the Spitfire landed safely, bringing an end to Margaret's harrowing journey. On the ground, the reality of what had just transpired began to sink in. Margaret Horton, still shaken but miraculously unharmed, was greeted with a mix of relief and disbelief. The ground crew, who had watched the entire ordeal unfold from below, were stunned silent. The pilot, still processing the weight of the unexpected passenger he had carried, was filled with a deep sense of gratitude for their safe return. The incident sparked a flurry of reactions. Blame was divided among the flight commander, the pilot, and Margaret herself. Yet, amid all the chaos, one detail stood out as a symbol of Margaret's resilience: her beret. Despite the high-speed winds, the extreme altitude, and the sheer terror of the situation, her beret had remained firmly in place throughout the ordeal. It was a testament to the strength, courage, and sheer willpower of this remarkable woman. A symbol of her indomitable spirit, her beret became a beacon of hope and resilience in the face of adversity. It was a reminder that even in the most dire of circumstances, there is always room for courage, for tenacity, and for unwavering determination. In the face of danger, Margaret Horton had demonstrated extraordinary bravery. Margaret Horton's flight on a Spitfire is more than just a thrilling tale. It's a testament to the resilience and courage of a woman in the face of unimaginable danger. In her flight, we see the embodiment of the spirit that drove the Women's Auxiliary Air Force, a spirit of determination and unyielding bravery. This incident, while terrifying in its own right, underscores the significant role the WAAF played during the Second World War. These women were not just bystanders, they were active contributors to the war effort, often putting themselves in harm's way, as exemplified by Horton's unexpected flight. Margaret's calm acceptance of her situation, her faith in her safety, and her eventual safe landing all highlight the strength of her character. Her beret, which stayed on throughout the ordeal, serves as a powerful symbol of the WAAF's steadfastness amidst chaos. Margaret Horton's story is a testament to the courage of the WAAF, a symbol of their invaluable contribution to World War II. Her flight will forever echo in aviation history,